Welcome to the Real Boardloft. I'm Forman, and this is the Lost Surfboards LPJHPRP. So that's the puddle jumper, high performance, round pin. This is a new board from Lost Surfboards, and just like the rest of the puddle jumper line, it's a constant evolution of what they're trying to develop. Increasing the range of the board. The PJHP was a new board last year, and just like when they introduced the round pin of the standard puddle jumper, they wanted to do the same to the HP, so they released this board. So a lot of people would look at this board as purely a step up to the standard puddle jumper HP, but it actually does have quite a bit of low end to it, and that comes from obviously the entry rocker of the board being relatively flat, the board being relatively wide. This board's 6'4", 22 inches wide, 2.8, and it's 43 liters. Typically I ride my grovelers right at about 42. I ended up ordering this board for wetsuit season in the winter, so I threw another liter on it. The PJHPRP is set up with a 5-fin setup, so obviously you can ride it as a quad or a thruster. This board, like when we were in Puerto Rico, we rode it both ways. It works well both ways. I mean, obviously the thruster is going to be coming better off the bottom. The quad better for like super fast waves, and there was actually a lot of really good backside fast waves, like sectioning waves for the quad worked really well. And another setup that I use on the puddle jumpers a lot, even the round pins, and like it is like an MR twin plus trailer. Also works on this type of board, even in a round pin. So don't think that you can't do it because it isn't a swallow or a squash. It'll also work in this board as well. But 22 inches wide, obviously it's going to be getting a lot of low end from that. The other place it gets its low end from, because you normally don't associate round pins with low end, like kind of small wave power, is how wide the board is right here at the front fin. So even though it does come back into a rounded pin, right here at the front fins, it's actually got quite a bit of width. So works in small waves. The round pin is designed to give the board a little bit more upper end range, like if the waves are faster or if you're riding it in bigger waves. What I found in this board compared to riding my standard puddle jumper round pin, my puddle jumper round pin, I sized that for trunks in warm water and I got it at 40 liters. This board I got at 43, and then I ended up surfing it in my trunks. And at the higher volume, I didn't like it as much on the high end. So what that translates to is not that the old one's better than the new one. What it translates to is I really think this type of board, you don't want to over volume it. You basically want to keep it at your grovel or even a little bit below your grovel size, because it's the design of the board that's going to give you the lift. You don't have to throw a ton of volume at it. So, if I had ordered this board closer to 40, I think I would have liked it a whole lot better on the top end. Obviously on the low end, it was great. Like it caught anything, it groveled through anything. I just feel that with having that much foam combined with this much width in the back of the board, you're smart to go a little bit more conservative on the amount of volume. So if you want to get like an over foam board, look at something like the Round Nose Fish Retro, or look at something like the Smooth Operator. Those boards both work really well with a lot of foam in it. This board is going to be better suited to a higher performance surfer looking for a super fun, shorter grovel board, but more appropriately sized, like, at either at your shortboard volume or a couple liters above your shortboard volume. So we ended up surfing it in Puerto Rico, a few different point style reef waves, and then just kind of A-frame reef waves, and through a pretty wide range of conditions, anywhere from kind of knee to thigh up to overhead, and had a really fun time on it. The only time where it felt really overpowered is like in that head high stuff on that point reef wave, like where it's just like kind of grinding down the reef, like a lot of forward push on the wave down the line, and then it started to feel real lifty right here in this area. So again, keep an eye on the volume numbers, make sure you're sizing it appropriately, and like I said, I wouldn't throw a ton of foam on this one. There's better boards that Lost make for that. So you're looking at this board, it's pretty hammered. So one, we don't review boards before we surf them because that's kind of lame. So it definitely shows that we surfed it, but it also gives us a great segue into, for a PSA, an LLS PSA. So you got the LPJHPRP PSA LLS. PSA is a public service announcement. LLS is a syndrome that is taking over the entire surfing world, and it's something that you definitely need to be aware of. LLS is long leash string syndrome. Actually, it might even be LLSS, but we just call it LLS here at Reel. And it's when your leash string gets longer than the tail of your board and then has the ability to crack your tail, or in this instance, rip entirely through your tail. So most people say, well, I got to tie it long so I could get my leash through it. I always tie them super short to where I could barely ever get my leash through it because I'm aware of LLS. And I'm the one calling everybody out on LLS, but then what do you know, it happens to me. So I had a cheaper grade leash string that stretched from being way too short to being way too long in one bigger wave session. And one of the bigger set waves stretched it around the tail, ripped the leash string through the tail, and then the fiberglass cut the leash string, and then the board went up on the reef. So that's what, the foot dents are obviously just from normal surfing it, but some of these holes here are from when it went up on dry reef on the inside. So it sucks for me and it sucks for this board because I was really liking it, but luckily, another good thing about the LPJHPRP is that the bottom and the fins didn't get messed up. So I don't know whether it's the board's performance, Matt designed that into the board or what, but the main thing out of the PSA is be aware of LLS, tie your leash strings very short, do not use inferior grade stretchy leash string material, and keep an eye on it, especially after it's been used a few times because the knot pulls tighter, the leash string gets longer. You never want that leash string wrapping around the tail of your board. You always want to have the rail saver going around the tail of your board because that's why they call it the rail saver. Any questions on the LPJHPRP? Give us a call at the shop, 252-987-6000. We got them all in stock in a bunch of different constructions so we can ship them anywhere in the world. Or you can look us up online, realwatersports.com/surfing. Thanks for tuning in.